Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my journey in beauty. Today's video is 1 week of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. If you've been watching my other videos in this little mini series, I am trying very thoughtfully to pick out my Pan That palette for 2019, and I'm bringing you guys along for the ride. I've been working with this palette for a full week, every single day, only this palette, and I just am giving it a test drive, just like I did with the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. If you missed that video, I'll link it above for you. But the Lorac MEGA Pro is a palette that is much more familiar to me than the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette because I've been working on hitting pan on a few shades this year in my 2018 Project Pan. So this week was a lot different than the Jaclyn Hill week, but first we are going to get into my daily check-ins, see how I'm feeling about the palette each day, and then we'll come back for my final. Hi guys, welcome to day 1 of 1 week of Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Today it was definitely like opening up an old friend, and this is definitely an old friend. This thing is filthy dirty inside and out, but I do love this palette. And so the shades that I used today real quickly were Tawny Forest, Olivine, which is one of my favorite shades in this palette and in general, and then I used Peony and Porcelain. So like I said, this was like opening up an old friend. I'm reminded of just how easy this is to work with in terms of blending and, you know, just general ease of use. I haven't used this forest green shade all that much, but I do love that it actually translated as green on the eyes, and it paired really nicely with that olivine shade. So I'm really looking forward to a full week of this. I'm gonna try and use as many colors as I can, like I did with the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm definitely going to be looking to create looks I haven't created before with this palette, even though I've been working on panning a few shades all year long. So day 1 was a win for me, and I will see you in day 2. Hi guys, and welcome to day 2 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Yes. Oh Lord, that didn't start off very well, did it? Alright, so today I used this shade Cabernet in the crease, blended it out with Tawny again because I'm working on this shade this month for panning purposes. Then I went in with Penny on the outer half of the lid and Peony on the inner part of the lid, and then used Prosecco in the inner corner. So, you know, this is what it's looking like. Today, while I was using this palette, I was thinking, man, this would be such an easy palette to pan next year. These palettes, the shadows are very, very soft, so it's not hard. You can make a dent in an eyeshadow with one look. And I don't necessarily know that that's a good thing for me. It definitely wouldn't be a challenge in terms of panning a palette, I don't think. There's really not any shades in here that I don't like. I don't tend to reach for gold leaf because I'm not a huge gold eyeshadow fan. And then there are 2 blacks. There's a matte black and kind of a, it's not really shimmery, but maybe satin with some micro glitters in it. So there really isn't any shades in here that would challenge me in terms of hitting pan on them. So this is something that we have to think about when we're choosing my Pan That palette for next year. Do we want to see me challenge myself, or do we want to see me really succeed and really do an awesome job at panning a palette? So that's all for today, and I will see you in day 3. Hi guys, and welcome to day 3 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Today I used Tawny. I have a goal to hit pan on that shade this month, so I'll be using it a lot this week. Then I went in with Dark Sienna, and then Blue Quartz, which is definitely a shade that I don't use a lot in this palette, but I made it work for me by layering this shade Sandstone over top just to mute it a little bit, and I love how it turned out. And then I went in with this shade right here called Peony. It's another shade that I have goal to hit pan on, and I'm super close, like close. Probably tomorrow if I use it, I will hit pan. I use that on the brow bone in the inner corner. And like I said, I used Sandstone over the top of the blue. And I love this look. I am, as I go through this week with the Lorac MEGA Pro 2, definitely making progress on my current panning goals. But at the same time, I think this is going to be a really easy palette to pan if this is the one that I use next year. But at the same time, I am having a little bit of trouble finding new looks that I haven't created with this yet, because I have been panning it, for a year. I'm trying to hit 4 to 6 shades before the end of 2018. So just my thoughts on using this today. I still enjoy it. I think the ease of use with this palette is always there. I can always pull a look out and I can do it relatively fast because the formula is fantastic, blends like a dream. So that is all for day 3, and I will see you in day 4.
Gets dirtier every day.
Hi guys, and welcome to day 4 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Today I went in with this pink shade Sorbet and this deeper rose shade called Goji, and then the shade Ash, which is a ashy brown, or it's an ashy gray rather. And then I went in with this shade Soft Plum all over the lid and highlighted my inner corner and brow bone with this shade right here called Chiffon, which I actually have pan on. It's a shimmery pale pink. Today was a good day. I frequently go into this palette when I want a nice pinky look like this, although I think it probably could be achieved with the Naked 3 that languishes in my drawers as well. But I'm still having fun with this palette. I do find it slightly more challenging than the Jaclyn Hill palette in terms of finding newer combinations, because I have been panning this for a full year so far. But again, I mean, I get my eyeshadow done so much quicker with this because the formula is so great. It blends out amazingly. I don't really have to force anything or work too hard with it. So those are my thoughts today. And I'm just wondering overall if I would end up getting bored with this if I pan it next year. So we'll see. This was day 4, and I will see you in day 5. Hi guys, and welcome to day 5 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Today I decided to go a little orangey and also give a shot to this shade Gold Leaf that I said I don't really reach for. I don't tend to reach for golds on my eyes, even though I do tend to get compliments when I wear them. Anyhow, I went in with this shade Tangerine in the crease and blended it out with this shade Melon. And then I went into this dark brown, well, not really dark, mid-tone brown called Saddle for the outer corner. And then Gold Leaf on the lid and Peony on the brow bone and inner corner. So I'm kind of a ponderer, a thinker, if you will, and when I'm doing my makeup and just listening to music and getting into the groove of things, I'm thinking all the while. And today I was thinking that like literally every day that I use this palette, I see progress on it. Like today, I felt like I made a little tiny dip in Melon just using it to blend it out. You know, I'm ever closer to hitting pan on Peony. And while yesterday or the day before when I checked in, I was wondering if I might get bored of this palette since I have been panning it for a year already, consistently, if not religiously. But today I was like, I wonder if it wouldn't be a real joy to pan a palette like this that I can see progress on so quickly, if it wouldn't lead me to be more committed to the project, if I was panning a palette that I could see more, you know, quick progress. So that's kind of where my thoughts are at today. I still don't know. I am definitely going to need you guys to help me out with this decision in the end. And that's it. I will see you in day 6. Hi guys, and welcome to day 6 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. Today I really wanted to go for kind of a glam smoky eye, and I do feel like I accomplished that. And the shades that I used were Tawny, which I have a goal to use, Saddle to deepen it up, a tiny bit of black to make it even deeper. Then I went with Cinnamon, which is one of my favorite shades in this palette. It's kind of coppery on the outer half of the lid, and Peony on the inner half of the lid. And I did hit pan on Peony today. Spoiler for my 2018 Project Pan update. And then on the inner corner, I did use Prosecco, which is another stunning shade in this palette. So this was exciting. I'm glad I got some use out of the black. That was one of the shades that I hadn't really touched. There's still this Black Ivy shade down here that I haven't touched. It's kind of a satin black, kind of weird. I guess I could have tried to use it. But every day I feel like, you know, I'm getting to know this palette better and better. I'm still not sure. I was talking to Angela last night and telling her that I feel just as unsure about what the right choice for Pan That Palette for 2019 is going to be. So I'm hoping between tomorrow and filming my 7 days of Lorac conclusion video that somehow it's going to miraculously come to me which palette is going to be the best one for me to pan next year. So we shall see. But I'm still enjoying it, and I do love the look that came out today. Hi guys, and welcome to day 7 of the Lorac MEGA Pro 2. For today's look, I did go into the crease and the outer V of my eye with this shade Cabernet, which is definitely a matte wine Merlot type shade. And then Tawny, which is the shade I'm working on this month. It is, you know, a warm transition shade. I used very little of it. I really tried to diffuse the color almost out to my temple, and I just wanted a very, very soft wash of color. Then I went in with this shade Seashell down here, which I really haven't used a lot, and it's a very interesting color. When you swatch it, it kind of looks pink, but on the eyes it definitely looks like silver almost. I don't know, very interesting color. And on the inner corner, I went in with Prosecco and then a combo of Cabernet and Tawny on the lower lash line. And I love this look. This is probably my favorite look that I've done. Also sporting a super blotted red lip, thanks to Hannah Louise Poston and Sarah Hubler, who did a collab called 5 Days of Red Lipstick today. And that is definitely what inspired this look. So I will link those videos below. You got to check these ladies out. And I will see you for my final thoughts. So, hopefully you can see that I had quite a different emotional experience with this palette this week than I did with the Jaclyn Hill palette. I really and truly love the Lorac formula, and I love this palette overall. And I was surprised to find that I didn't prove or disprove any of my pros or cons this week. I mean, other than just the obvious things, like this palette has more use than Jaclyn Hill palette for me. But I loved every single look that came out of this palette. I did feel like everything that came out of this palette was like very soft and diffused, kind of like what I did today. I almost blended it out to my temples. I wanted it super soft and diffused and natural. So I really enjoyed working with this palette, but I definitely kind of went back and forth when thinking about, would I get bored with this palette? How many new varieties of looks can I get out of this palette? But overall, I do think that there are a lot more looks to discover in this palette. Today, like I said, I combined Cabernet with Tawny and Seashell. And Seashell, I don't think I had ever used on the lid before, just in the inner corners. I really liked how that turned out, but I do think there's a lot more looks in here that I can come up with, but they will be muted looks. And then I do also believe overall that this palette, the Lorac palette, is much easier to work with than the Jaclyn Hill palette. These are shadows. When people say that they practically blend themselves about a shadow, that's how I feel about Lorac Mega Pro formula. I think they do practically blend themselves. I never find myself having to really work at blending something out, whereas I didn't necessarily feel that way with the Jaclyn Hill palette. But I don't know if that's because I haven't worked as much with the Jaclyn Hill palette, or if it's because the Lorac formula is just that good. And I do know the Lorac formula is good. I can speak to that without any doubt in my mind, but I don't know if I find it easier to work with because of the formula or because I've been working with it on and off all year long. So those are kind of my thoughts on the Lorac Mega Pro 2. I really thought I would have some more thoughts. I also thought that I would be a lot closer to making a decision between these two palettes by now, and I don't feel all that close. It seems like day to day I feel one way or the other. Like one day I might feel like, yeah, I think I might know which one I'm gonna pan next year. And then the next day I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea which palette I'm gonna pan next year. So I'm gonna really need you guys to give me a talk down in the comments section. I wanna hear your last votes if that's what you want to do. I would like to hear your last plea for whichever palette you think I should pan for your own reasons or for my success. And what are we gonna do? So far, this has been a really fun project. I'm gonna give myself 1 week to mull this over. Next Sunday, the 25th of November, I'm going to go ahead and put up my final video with my decision and just a little bit about how I'm going to format this series next year. So one last hurrah down in the comments section. Help me pick my pan that palette for next year, please. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next video soon. Bye.
Cat hair, always cat hair.